Okay, this video is about this car I built, the 427 Shelby Cobra, and it was not a kit car, and it was not an original either. It was all my own design. This was an article that was in the Modesto Bee. That was August 22nd, 1997. They did an article about me building the car. The Cobra was framed. The owner engineered it all, it was called. So this is a little walkthrough of the whole process of building this car. And these were the very original drawings right here. This is done in quarter scale, where I laid out this side view showing the chassis tubes, and then you can see an outline of the body around all that. So that's a side view there. This is where it started, right here. And then this is a top view of all the chassis tubes. And then I even built a mock-up, an exact, dimensionally, just an exact mock-up of the engine and transmission, which I could move around and figure out where I wanted that to go. So that's what that was. And so there it is. This is the actual drawing. Now from that drawing, I built the this wood model, all in quarter scale. These were all 1/4-inch wood dowels, all glued, and the purpose for this was I could actually twist this wood chassis to see how strong it was going to be. And then in the very beginning, I also built this 3-dimensional wood, just wood jig, I guess you'd call it, to go through the motions of the body roll and the suspension travel, and to figure out the bump steer. And so these were pictures of that model. And originally this car had a 289 with the 351 Windsor heads, and that's what you see here. And that's not the motor that's in the car now, but originally that's what it had. There's a picture of me and Carol Shelby. And so that's some of the beginnings. And these were just pictures of that original motor, going through, having that all rebuilt. And that was a test stand to run that engine. And now here's where I was doing all the tubular work. And I built this right here in this shop here. This is exactly where the car was built, right here, and right in that area right there. And this is just over a period of time, just showing the tubes going in. There's some test driving in the shop. And then there was a point where the car was all finished, except it needed to be welded out. It was all tacked together. And more shots of it at that stage. At this point I had finished the instrument panel, did all the electrical. That's all the parts had to be in there. Everything was fitted before it was welded out. In fact, this here is the actual electrical schematic I made of the car, right there. That's the actual schematic. And so that's that. Then this is just showing a continuation of the process of parts going in. Oh my gosh, it was so involved. And just, you know, I took a lot of pictures showing every little detail. I built all the electrical. I built that dashboard, instrument panel. Just a lot of pictures of just the chassis pictures. Then this was even test fitting the body before I welded it out. All the mounting points. And this was all the hydraulic fuel lines. Had to build all that. There's the back side of the instrument panel. A lot of parts to put in there. Then eventually I took it all apart, and it's on the rotisserie now. And this is where, this was the weld out process. All these pictures. And now this is when I started all the sheet metal. What you're seeing here are paper patterns, the white, for all the different patterns that had to be made into sheet metal. That was pretty interesting. And then here's, you know, building the panels, installing the panels. And this is a test here where I wanted to test the torsional rigidity of the chassis here. And this was a lever arm out here, 10 feet out with, there was like 200 pounds. And I had a micrometer set under this point. And then the other 3 points were solidly, they were solidly mounted, except this end here. And you can barely see the micrometer, a dial mic. And it was like 20 thousandths deflection. So the chassis was incredibly stiff. And after welding, this is all the bead blasting. All that happened. And then this is where I painted it with that POR 15. And there's the rear end all painted. And this is during the final assembly now. And parts are going in. It's all. And here was the finished, completely finished without the body. At this point I could drive the car, which I did, around the backyard. So it really looked nice at that stage. And more pictures of all the finished thing happening there. It's really fun to see it at that stage. All the tubes are in, everything's painted. Really look neat. So that's all documented. So I have a lot of those pictures. And a lot of these panels are removable, so you can access the rear end or the transmission. And this was a test drive out back. It was fun that night. Drove it around. And now the body's on. At that point, that was a driver. I could get in and go with this thing. And there's some more engine shots. Then later, that motor was replaced with a 331 stroker motor that's in the car now. And the body, this body, well, at one point I had two bodies. I sold one of them. But these were from Advanced Chassis over in San Leandro with Gary White. Was where these bodies came from. Anyway, that's a quick little story of the car. Okay.